Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jason Lee. I'm the account strategist, and I'm based in Google, Singapore. Thank you for tuning in to our live stream this afternoon. For today, we would walk you through some of the app monetization trends in 2017. After that, I will walk you through the premium format that we at Google are working on. And we will walk through some of the optimization tips for mediation platform. And lastly, I will walk you through some of the best practices that you can use when you're receiving a policy warning from Google. I also want to note that you would have the chance to chat live with us on your right-hand side. You can submit some questions. At the end of the live stream, you can download the videos, or you can download the deck of the presentation today after you submit your survey. So let's start the live stream today. So first of all, let's looking at some of the industry trends and some introduction into AdMob for those who are new to AdMob monetization. So the key trends I want to highlight today is there are more phones right now than people globally. From 2013 up to today, we saw that there are 7.4 billion mobile connections. Most of the growth is coming from smartphone, and that accounts for 88% of all the growth. From 2013 to 2019, the number of mobile phones, especially the smartphone, have grew double. In 2013, as you can see, there was 1.27 billion smartphone, and it's projected in 2019 there will be 2.62 billion smartphone. The number of smartphone devices growing, mostly coming from APAC. By 2019, we projected that they're going to be 1.4 billion smartphone in Asia Pacific. Smartphone going to grow significantly in China and India, especially in Southeast Asia. Indonesia is another country that's driving most of the growth. India will likely to take over the US in the smartphone sales. So a lot of people are getting onto this mobile phone, especially a smartphone, but the advertising dollars are not following the consumer right now. For different channels from print, radio, TV, internet, and especially mobile devices, you can see that the red bar represent the ad the people are spending or investment into the channel, versus the gray bar is where the people are spending their time. A lot of people are spending time on mobile, 24% growth in 2014, but they're only 8% of the share of wallet. So this presents a significant monetization opportunity for all developers. According to App Annie's, in 2017, the global ad spend for apps will grow by 31% year over year. So you can looking at the pie chart here. In 2016, app revenues make up mostly of the ad spend and the app store spend. For the ad spend, meaning the investment the advertiser put into the apps, there was $77 billion. It projected by the end of 2017, this amount will grow to $101 billion. So mobile in-app ads are set to grow globally at 3 times from 2014 to 2018. In several key markets, for example, the US and the UK, advertising is now above 50% of the total apps revenues. So the bottom line here is the in-app advertising market opportunities is huge. This is a $101 billion market that we are talking about. So developer, if you're listening, please join the market and get a share of the pie. And what about user? User want free apps. 90% of the apps downloaded from the App Store today are free. And only 2.3% of all mobile gamers want to spend money in apps. So how are people finding your apps? Recommendation from friends and family and the App Store are top places that people find out about new apps. Especially, you can see that 49% of people in Singapore and 53% of people from Malaysia are saying from survey that recommendation from their friend and family, as well as searching for the App Store, are the way that they find the new apps. Friends and family, as well as the app being featured on the App Store, are big influencer on the install. For India, the #1 channel is again from friends and family. In Indonesia, you can see that 58% of people surveyed say that friends and family are the key recommender for them to download the apps. Markets like Singapore and Malaysia, people are also looking at some of the apps as features new every week or every month. And they're also looking at the website that they visited from their mobile apps. The decision to install an app are largely coming down to the reviews that the app are getting, as well as the rating out of the scale of 5. Some key market, for example, in Vietnam, in Thailand, where people cannot afford very expensive phone, memory space and cost are key factor for them to install an app. So you can see that in the market, for example, like Malaysia and Singapore. In Singapore, 53% of people surveyed said that the cost of the app are key considerations when they decide whether they're going to install the app. For Malaysian, user rating, user reviews are really important in their decisions to install an app. So those are some of the key things that as developers you should take care of to be thinking about. How you're going to get friends and family of the user to recommend themselves. Word of mouth is really important. The other thing is how are you going to invest in your apps, reply to your user and respond to the people who putting some reviews, so to improve the ratings overall of the apps. AdMob is by far one of the most used platform to monetize apps. 1 million apps are using AdMob today to monetize each month. And AdMob have paid over $1 billion to developers in the past 3 years. Every month, AdMob are serving 300 billion ad queries. Next, I would like to walk you through some of the innovative format that AdMob are working on. First of all, the bread and butters a lot of the developer are relying on when monetized with AdMob are banner and interstitial. If you are using banners today, I recommend that you switch over to smart banners so that it can optimize for the user screen when it is landscape, when it's portrait, as well as optimize for user experience. You can definitely accelerate the earning on your apps as well as your account if you're using interstitial. In certain apps, according to their quality as well as the user of the countries they are targeting, people have seen that interstitial can earn 10 times the eCPM for banners. Interstitial is definitely a money maker for a lot of the developers, so don't miss out the opportunity to use that. AdMob have working on to improve the user experience, especially with their look and feel of the ad. Today, most of the ad material design. So these are some of the example of how our native ads look like. For native ads, we actually have something called the app install ads, and we also have a content ads. Next, I would go through some of the key concepts for ad mediations. So what is mediations? A typical developers would want to work with 1 or 2 ad networks. The reason for that is the developer wants every impression to receive the best CPM, the best paying network for their impressions. In this example, you can see that a developer are working with network 1, 2, and 3. Throughout the year, each of the network would have according to the campaigns that the buyer secure with them, they would have fluctuating CBM. For example, the network number 1, in this case, is highlighted in green, would have very high CBMs in March. However, in the middle of the year, the CBM came down, and network 3, which highlighted in red over here, actually have a higher CBM. And it seems like network number 2, in blue right here, actually not really performing. So you want to make sure that you are not working on with one network, and you want to have the best paying CBM throughout the year. So how are you going to do that? The solution is AdMob mediation. So AdMob mediation allows you to let all of this network compete with each other, and whichever ad network are giving you the best CBM on that day, on that time, for that impressions, AdMob will serve that ad to the user. Today, AdMob are mediating with 37 other ad networks. So definitely you have plenty to choose from. Mediations can apply for all ad formats. AdMob mediations can use to mediate banners. It can also be used to mediate for interstitial. And upcoming, we are working on rewarded ad mediations. This is a demonstration of how the ad network optimization features in AdMob mediation works. For example, you're working with 6 different ad networks. When a particular user opening your app, the server would talk to 6 different networks and asking for the ad. In this example, network number 3 seems to be able to pay the best CBM at that point. AdMob will decide that ad network 3 will be ranked the highest and will be serving the ad to the app. In order to boost your revenue, we recommend that you consider using a live CBM features that AdMob have. Live CBM allow Google demand to dynamically competing with all the networks. When you turn on live CBM, AdMob demand can be plugged into every auctions. Because of the diverse and millions of developers are investing to advertise in app with Google, you get the benefit of having a possibility of getting a highest CBM or a higher CBM than the current networks that you're working with to be features to be showing the ad on your apps. In this example, after competing with network A, B, C, and D, we saw that Google can actually have an ad that pay $4.60, and that ad will be serving onto your app. A quick recap: we are working on 4 different formats right now. Number 1 is banner and smart, especially using smart banner. Number 2 is interstitial. I recommend you to continue using interstitial because it's making a lot of money for our developer. You want to consider native express ad. Native ads allow the app to features a really immersive experience and provide a best user experience for user coming to your app. And we are also working on rewarded ads. Right now it's in beta and it's on really high demand. So if you really want to know more about rewarded ads, which is a video interstitial, please reach out to our help center, or you can also reach out to your account manager to ask for more information. On mediations, I recommend that you use our ad network optimization features. Don't forget to turn on live CBM. And also, if you are currently using rewarded ad with Vungo, AdColony, and a couple other ad networks, I highly recommend that you mediate different network here on our rewarded AdMob mediations platform. Lastly, I would like to walk you through what are the best practices that you can use when you're receiving a policy warning email from AdMob. So why do we actually have a policy team? Policy is really important for the long-term growth of the ecosystem. This chart really summarizes what is the ecosystem look like. We have user, we have advertiser, also we have you guys, the developers and the publishers. User are really important because without user, we wouldn't be able to monetize. We want user to have the best user experience when they are visiting our app store or playing your apps. And it's also the user going to be clicking on that or they're buying something in your app. Advertiser are also very important in the ecosystem. They are the investor who bump money or who invest the money into buying the media. So we want to make sure that the clicks quality is really high and advertiser can see that they can sell stuff or their conversion is good. Advertiser also want to make sure that the ad that they are buying get to be seen by the user. And lastly, for developer, we want to work with you and partnering with you for long-term growth. We want to make sure that we continue to innovate so you can have more formats and a robust platform for you to monetize for healthy income growth. And lastly, we want to work with you because you have very high quality apps and you can monetize without really strong demand. So AdMob policy are a little bit different from Google Play policy. So as an AdMob developer or as developer overall, I recommend that you understand that there are two sets of policy here. AdMob policy mostly focus on the behavior of the ad or where you're placing the ad. Whereas Google Play policy really look into the content of your apps and how are you featuring or listing your app onto our Google Play App Store. So how do we detect the policy violation? First of all, we have a robust automated system to look through your website as well as to look through your app's content. When the machines or when the automated system signal that there are some policy violations, we would have a whole teams, a global teams are working on reviewing whether this policy violation really is legit or this something that is not right. So this team is a global team and they're working on 24 hours a day for 7 days a week. They will be the humans that's sitting behind the machine to review the content as well as your app. We want to make sure that high contents are on our store, and we want to partner with high quality apps. So what is high quality content? High quality content, if you want to high quality content, when you're building your app, ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, does the content actually add any social values? Is it rich or regional? And can it organically growing in terms of user? Number 2, is your content family safe? Most of the big brands as well as app developer who want to drive more downloads want their brand, want their logo, want their product to be served against a family safe content. The third one is legitimate. You have to ask yourself whether your content or your service abide by the law. Is there any policy or any copyrighted right that you haven't secured yet? Please make sure that all these 3 points are addressed when you're building your content. For ad implementations, there are 3 principles that you need to take care of, you need to consider. Number 1, avoid deceptive ad implementation. Number 2, avoid unnatural attention. Unnatural attention means that people don't know whether that really is an ad, so they can't click on that, and it will be driving a lot of invalid clicks. And last thing is accidental clicks. If users are playing on your app and an interstitial accidentally popping up or unexpectedly popping up onto the apps, that will lead to a lot of accidental clicks, and you want to avoid that. For ad implementations, we recommend that you consider the number of ads that you're putting into one viewport, or our ad density policy. There should always be more content rather than ad. So when you are placing or when you are designing the experience on your screen, make sure that the content are taking the majority of the real estate on your app. And by majority, I recommend to be 70 or 80% of the viewport need to be content. The ad should be placed into the frame by itself. Ad shouldn't overlap with any buttons for clickable button, or the ad shouldn't be overlapped with the content, or is placed against the background of your app. This is an example of an ad at the bottom of the page, the banner ad at the bottom of the page in their own frame and separate from the content and the title. This is a good implementation example of banners being separate completely from the title screen. For interstitial, make sure that the ad not popping up when people are engaging or interacting with your games. Make sure that you don't actually have a lot of popping up ads. Interstitial should only be placed when people are transitioning from one screen to another. You can get all of this information on our AdMob Help Center, but just quickly, I want to walk you through how a flow of the apps and how you can actually place the ad, the interstitial ad, into the flow of your app. The first screen from the left to the right, people open up this smiley face apps. First of all, you should be showing an interstitial ad right away. This is a really bad experience. You should be showing them the app loading page. Similar to interstitial ad popping up right after people opening the app, we should be showing interstitial ad when people are exiting the app. This is to avoid the interstitial app to be showing on the outside of the app environment or on the device environment itself. In order to fix the policy violations, we just want to present to you a better way to implement it. Like I said, after the screen showing the app is loading, you can show an interstitial ad when people are waiting for the app to load. And after they close the interstitial ad, they shouldn't go back to the loading page, but they should go to the home screen of the app where they can choose different functions to access the content. For unexpected launch, again, the policy here is you should only showing your app, the interstitial ad, after people interacting with a function or a button on your app. In this example, on the home screen of the app, let's say people are clicking on the umbrella. Then they would move on to the screen that's showing the interstitial ad. When they close the ad, they would go to the screen that actually showing any content showing the umbrella. So in here, next page that loaded should be showing photography features, restaurant, shopping cart, or anything else. Recurring interstitial. The ad should not be placed in a way that prevent the viewing of the app core content. Ads should not be placed in a way that interfere with the navigating or interacting of the app core content or functionality. What does that mean? This is an example of what a violation for recurring ads look like. When people clicking on the map functions in the app, one interstitial popping up after another interstitial popping up. This is a really bad experience, and you will turn away a lot of users. When we detect that there's a policy violation, the AdMob ad serving will be disabled for you to have a chance to fix the policy violation. When you receive a policy warning email, first of all, read the notifications. After that, you can go through our AdMob Help Center to read again about what is the right way to do it, what is the policy that you're violating. The third step is fix the policy. And lastly, you can submit an appeal. This is an example of how an AdMob ad serving disable email warning look like. We will call out what is the app ID, the app names, and give you a broad discussion of what is a violation. After reading through the email, you would have the link to where you can actually appeal and get our manual reviewer to look into your fix. You should go through the Google policy page, which is on our AdMob Help Center. All the policy would be accompanied by some videos for you to understand it quicker. You should fix the policy violation right away. Once you fix the policy violation and you submit the appeal, in your policy violation appeal, make sure that you do 3 things. You should fill out a form with all the information necessary for your name, the app login email, the ID of the apps, the name of the apps. Also in the email, in the open changes box, you should remember to put 3 things. Number 1 is you know of the policy violation you have done. Number 2, what step have you taken to fix the violation, and tell us how you have fixed it. Number 3, tell us what are the measure or the method that you have put in so you can prevent this violation in the future. Just 3 simple steps. Admit that you have made policy violations. Tell us where and how you have fixed it, and tell us in the future you're not gonna violate again. This will make your policy appeal a lot stronger. And that was the 4 simple steps that you can use when you're receiving a policy warning, and you can successfully appeal for your ad serving to be served again. It's normally take us maximum 7 working days to look through your appeal, but typically if you have seen that the policy review teams take longer than 7 working days, do feel free to reach out to us or contact your account manager. What do you do if your appeal are rejected? When your appeal is rejected, make sure that you go back to read the policy again and try to fix it again. We want to make sure that our ecosystem is clean, and we want to make sure that all the apps that people are playing doesn't actually have a lot of ad popping up or ad popping up unexpectedly. Just make sure that you read our policy and stick to the principle that I have shared today. So a quick recap. We have gone through the monetization trends, and you understand that the advertising market right now is at $101 billion. So go aggressive, get a share of the pie. Number 2, we have gone through some innovative format and the suite of format that we're working on. The point that missing here is we also have a rewarded ad in betas. So feel free to reach out to your account managers if you want to know more information about that format. Number 3, I have walked you through some of the key mediations features, the ad network optimization, live CBN features, as well as you can mediate your rewarded ad on the AdMob platform. And lastly, we have gone through the 4th simple step that you can use when you receive a policy warning from AdMob policy. So this is a exciting time for question and answer. I have received a couple of live questions, so I'm gonna read them out and address them. The first question that we got was how to increase or optimize CPC or RPM with AdMob. Any techniques? CPC is something that is very difficult for developers to control. It really depends on your content, the quality of your apps, that the investor or the advertiser want to invest their budget into advertising on your app. In order to optimize for CPC or RPM, the best way you can do it is just creating a really, really high quality app, really good content, and attract and acquire very young, very high paying user. The next questions, I have developed a few games that require to have video rewarded ad, and I want to integrate AdMob rewarded with third-party network like AdColony. It just doesn't work. In the end, AdMob, AdColony SDK was the choice that I chose. The question is when AdMob is going to have our own video ad. So I have shared from the presentation today and our live stream today, we have rewarded video ads in beta. So if you have an account manager that has been serving you or has been working with you, do feel free to reach out to them if you want to get on to our beta testing. Rewarded video ads is going to be available to all developers coming in April this year. So hang tight and be patient. We are working on it. We do a lot of tests, and we want to make sure that it's going to perform well. It's going to work for you. Next questions. What will be the next thing on AdMob project? My AdMob earning have increased for the past 12 months, but still consider small earning when I compare it to other developers. Most developers still not aware of AdMob optimizations. I hope the teams can work harder to educate small developers like us. So there are two questions here, and I'm very happy that you have seen your earning increase for the past 12 months. The next big thing that we at AdMob are working on are innovative formats and really strong, really robust mediation platform. We understand that typical developers are working with multiple ad networks, but we are very confident that the demand that we have is really diverse. It's really strong from a lot of the advertiser. So do consider our AdMob mediations and watch out for new features. On format, please go ahead and try our AdMob Native Express format. It's performing really, really well for some of the developers, not only in Southeast Asia, but globally. You also want to look out for our announcement on rewarded ads that are coming up in April. And the last question for today, I have multiple games having the same strategy, and the only difference is the character design. I'm trying to find a way to optimize my revenue for ads. Two options I have: create multiple apps, and each of the apps generate the same average amount of impressions. The option number two, focusing on one single app, but add new features regularly and generates enormous amount of impressions. The question is, which option should I go for so I can get more revenue? I'm wondering, should I pick a popular app and spend more effort to add more features into my app rather than creating multiple apps? So this is really depends on what is the strategy and the business model. We have seen a lot of developers who regularly create new apps, but each of the app, again, would need to have a different value propositions, and each of the apps have to be adding values to the user, or each of the game have to be quite attractive to the user. So the strategy that we recommend is really to build on one key games that you have for the year, and really working really hard to get a lot of user on it, and improving the apps, improving the games, and adding more features into that, rather than churning out a lot of apps throughout the years. But each of the apps may not be attracting a lot of user. So my recommendation is really focus on one app, do it very, very well, or alternatively, you might want to consider, having multiple apps, but each of them would still add value to the user. The other thing that you want to consider is that once you have a really good app, you can go global, which means that you can translate the app or the app listing into multiple languages to target people from Brazil, people from Russia, people from even China. Those are the countries that we've seen a phenomenal growth in smartphone and apps monetization. So those are the key things that you want to consider. All right, so this is the end of our live stream today. You have the option to click on the button at the bottom of this live stream to give us your feedback through a survey. After that, you have an option to download the content of the presentation and live stream today. It has been a great time spending this afternoon talking to developers in Southeast Asia about app monetizations. And I'm looking forward to talking to you again. Thank you.